Hello everybody and welcome to SVC Sports Weekly. I'm Mike Nosek alongside head baseball coach Dave Gage. And Dave, we've got a full slate of stuff to talk about here. Men's and women's basketball in action last week. Men's volleyball in action last week. Baseball and softball have begun their preseason practices, so let's get right down to it. Men's basketball 1-2 last week, lost to Williams College. They came up here. Very good Williams team. They're shooting that three. And unfortunately, the Mountaineers fell 93-45 in a rematch from earlier in the season, in which the Mountaineers lost at the Williams tip-off tournament, 81-51. And then they knocked off Wheelock College here for the first win of the season, and you could really see them clicking on all cylinders in that game. Very cohesive effort, and it's just great to see those guys get a win, and they're really happy with themselves, and the fans were really into it. So awesome for them.
Yeah, it was a great game, and like you said, the best thing was the fans. I mean, they were into it. And they had a little bit of cheering section, and they were getting all into the game. It was fun to see our student athletes and just our students around campus enjoy a basketball game like they did.
From what I'm told, they were actually they had to be stopped from storming the court. So potentially the first time ever that the court would have been stormed, but they refrained and just cheered from the stands, and I'm sure congratulated all the men later on around campus. In that game, senior captain Tayshawn Johnson dropped 24 points. Sophomore captain Jermaine Campbell with a double-double, 18 points and 15 rebounds. Two other players scored in double digits. So again, you just saw the potential of this team, and again, when they're got everything going and everyone's just in that groove, it can produce good results.
Yeah, it's something that we've talked on the show about week in and week out is, the potential that this team has, and for the first time, they actually showed that last week. It was a 20-point game with 3 or 4 minutes left, I believe. So it was a heck of a ball game by, our men's team, and every one of them played well, especially Jermaine. He was getting up there and grabbing those rebounds like he was a power forward, and he's just a point guard, so.
Absolutely, for a small guy, like you said, he's been doing pretty well. He actually ranks 4th in the conference with 8.6 rebounds per game. So, really good. Tayshawn's right behind him with 8.0. And, with Tayshawn's week, he actually leads all players in the conference now with 21.5 points per game. Mountaineers, unfortunately, then fell at Regis College on Saturday, 80-51. Women's hoops action, rather. They had a tough week. They played some great competition. Elms College, number 2 team, they lost 70-60 there. Very close game for, the women were down a lot more than that 10-point differential, and they battled back. They didn't give up. They just kind of ran out of time there at the end.
Yeah, I thought they played as well as they could. And like you said, Elms is just a very good team. But I was very impressed with the way that our women's team played in that game. They just clicked on all cylinders at times to get back into it and never really let the game get out of hand. And when it did stretch out to its largest lead, they battled back and made it a 10-point game.
Then they fell earlier in the week to Becker at Becker, 63-48, and then lost to Regis College, who's undefeated in conference play, 76-36 down at their place on Saturday. And they've got a big week coming up here. They're coming down the final stretch. And where it stands right now, they're in 7th place. Correct me if I'm wrong. The top 6. No, they're in 8th place. Top 7 make the playoffs. So right now Mitchell College is sitting in that 7th spot, and their record's 4-9 in conference. Mountaineers are 3-10 in conference. They come up here Saturday, and if we were to beat them, records could be even if the rest of the season goes that way. We would own the tiebreaker and get into the postseason.
Yeah, and that's the goal. You just want to get in the playoffs, and everything resets at that point. But I think this Saturday is going to be a big game, and something that me and you have had conversations about for a couple weeks now is that game is going to have a lot of playoff implications.
Again, this week they're at Bay Path for the first meeting of the season. Then Becker comes up Thursday night for an 8 p.m. match, and then Mitchell comes up Saturday afternoon for a 1 p.m. game. And those are the 5, 6, and 7 teams, respectively, in the conference right now. Bay Path, kind of had a strong start. as of late, they've lost 4 in a row, losing to Mitchell, Newbury, Elms, Wheelock. So, that's definitely a winnable game tomorrow night at Bay Path for 8 o'clock. And then again, Becker comes up for the rematch. We've seen them once, might be able to adjust certain things. If we can come away with 2 wins this week, especially again that one against Mitchell, to slide into that 7th seed, that would be huge.
Yeah, this is a big week for them. If they can get a win or two, it's basically they control their own destiny. So hopefully, best of luck to them.
Absolutely. Go back to the men's schedule real quick. They are at Elms College tomorrow night for 6 p.m. game. And then Thursday, Becker comes up with their women's team for the men play at 6, women are at 8. And then Saturday, Mitchell comes up again, women at 1, men at 3 p.m. So we'll hope to see you all there. Men's volleyball was at the Golden Flyer Invitational at Nazareth College over the weekend. They played 4 matches in that tournament and against 4 very good teams. Unfortunately, they lost all 4 of the matches, but they were able to take a set off of Elmira, a set off of Emmanuel, and these are teams that are either ranked or have been ranked in the last couple of weeks. So again, trying to find the positives, that's certainly one of them.
Yeah, and I think it just shows how much this team has improved from last year when they went to the same tournament and got swept 3-0. Against those 3 same teams. They played a different 4th team, but and it shows that 3-1, and they won a couple of the first sets. So this team could be dangerous, and I think you look at what teams in our conference have done against similar opponents, and I think we match up really well with a couple of the other teams.
Yeah, the other 2 losses over the weekend were to Mass Institute of Technology, MIT. That was a 3-0 loss. However, the Mountaineers had set point in the first. Just couldn't finish them off, and the Engineers battled back and were able to take that first set 27-25, and then eventually taking the second 2. And to start off the tournament, the Mountaineers played Nazareth College, the host there, ranked number 5 in last week's poll, and that was another 3-0 loss. But again, they're playing against great competition. And Anthony Barahona, NECC Player of the Week, for what he was able to do against those 4 very quality opponents. We interviewed him earlier today, and he said he thought that despite losing, they were all really good matches, and really tested them, showed them how much they're going to have to work and what things they're going to have to work on in order to play well throughout the rest of the year.
Yeah, I think it's someone who has experience. With Barahona, he's played those teams last year, played them again this year, and he can say, hey, this is what we need to do to beat the teams in our conference and beat the teams. They're going to go up against Springfield later in the year, who I believe is number 1 right now. They're already going to be battle tested. They know what they're getting themselves into. So hopefully he can take his experience with a couple of the other guys and help them get some wins. This week they're playing 2 conference games, so hopefully they can get some wins.
Yep, men's volleyball starts the NECC schedule this weekend. They're at Leslie University for a 2 p.m. match. And then Endicott College, really good team, comes up here on Sunday for a 1 o'clock. So, again, they can play well this weekend, kind of carry the momentum and the positives from this past weekend, then they could be looking at 2-0 in the conference and possibly sitting up top there. So that would be great to see for them, and a good start. Try to bounce back from this past weekend and those 4 losses. I mentioned Barahona getting Player of the Week. Great for him. He hit 225 over the weekend in those 4 matches. 14 kills, 5 digs in the 3-1 loss to Emmanuel. 12 kills, 3 digs, and 3 blocks in the 3-1 loss to Elmira. And then 13 kills, 8 digs, and 3 blocks in the 3-set loss to MIT. For the week, he averaged 3.38 kills and 2.67 digs per set. So congratulations to Anthony there. Also grabbing NECC Weekly honors, Amber Flagg. Again, Women's Basketball Rookie of the Week, 4th time this year. She averaged 20.7 points, 3.0 rebounds, and 3.0 steals in the 3 games. So I don't think there's enough that you can say about, this young star, for lack of a better term.
No, that's a perfect way to put it. She's a star, and she's proven this year that, she can play in this conference and be an elite player in this conference. I don't know where she ranks out with other people in the conference, but obviously she's a Rookie of the Week, week in and week out, and I think that'll be good for her when it comes to Rookie of the Year voting. You never know, we could have a Rookie of the Year on our hands.
Absolutely, she has been producing so well. All 3 games last week, she had the game highs. So she can, as we mentioned in that game against Elms, she can almost take over a whole game. And when she starts really driving that lane and getting fouls or putting up the layups, picking pockets and then taking it the distance, she can almost turn the game around by herself.
Yeah, she can score, she can pass, she can rebound. It's pretty fun to watch.
In that Elms game, she had 27 points. I can also mention Javasha White, who recorded a double-double with 15 points and a game-high 13 rebounds. Another, really good player, young player for the Mountaineers. She currently ranks 3rd in the conference with 9.0 rebounds per game. So if they can kind of keep everything clicking and hopefully, use that throughout this week, again, might see them in postseason action soon as the season nears its end. Final note for Mountaineer Athletics. 14 fall student athletes made the 2012 NECC Fall All-Conference Academic Teams. In order to do that, you need to have a cumulative GPA of 3.4 or better. So that's great to see. 169 students around the conference were nominated. Again, some schools have more sports to be able to get those players on, but 14 of our student athletes and 4 are multiple winners. So that's great for them. I know you've won a couple or been placed to a couple NECC Fall or Spring All-Conference teams. And I think Provost Alex Assisio said it well that not only are they doing everything that they need to for the team, but they're doing well in their courses.
Yeah, and you look at some of the people on the list, and they're really good players as well. So it just goes to show that these people, these players or athletes are really embracing the student-athlete model, which Division III does so well with, and congratulations to them. It's an honor that really needs to be looked at and should really be congratulated for.
For a complete listing of all the players who made the team, you can check out neccathletics.com, and the full list is right there. Quick note, 8 women's soccer players were named to their respective team. So that's, great for all those ladies. Michael Zazig, coach there, is really pushing them in the classroom as well as on the pitch. So, again, great to see that success both on and off the field, and we hope that they can continue it into the spring. Super Bowl was yesterday, which means football's over and baseball's right around the corner. I know you guys are in your 2nd week of preseason. As we mentioned, softball began today. How's the team looking so far?
We're all right. We got some young players, and I really am happy with our intensity that we've had at practice over the last 2 weeks. Have great captains, and can't ask for anything else with where we're at. So I'm very, very happy.
Again, it's only early February, but the beginning of the season will be here before we know it. Baseball kicks off at Emerson with a doubleheader on March 13th, and softball has its spring training trip to Florida mid-March, and then they come back to start NECC play against Leslie on the 24th. Well, we would like to thank you all for tuning in again here on SVC Sports Weekly. We hope to catch you next week. Don't forget men's and women's basketball action Thursday night and Saturday afternoon, and then men's volleyball on Sunday afternoon. Thanks again, everybody. Go Mountaineers!